Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. You can check me out on Twitter at Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. All the different places are neilhaley.com. You can connect to all the different social media sites, or just Google me. Always fun. We're in the studio, so I first want to talk to my co-host, Coach Karen Hall, WPL Hall of Famer, running UNLV running rep, and all those different things, and ESPN analyst. And we always have some interesting guests, and we have a really good guest today. I see my wife's alma mater. He coaches at North Catholic, but now it's Cardinal World North Catholic. But go ahead and introduce our guest.
It's always good to be back to the show, and of course in the studio. But today, like our usual Studio Fridays, we have Coach Frank Holloran, who I know as a former assistant coach at the Community College of Allegheny County, but now an assistant coach at North Catholic Cardinal World. So first, Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely.
Well, sit back, have fun, and let's get after this.
Yeah, why not?
So we just want to talk about you and really start off with how your athletic career started, like the basketball. Most guests we know, we just think it's basketball. Then they'll say, well, no, I was a three-sport athlete growing up. So what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a Hall of Famer like you. Little kid from Lawrenceville, before Lawrenceville was the hipster neighborhood it was now. It was a family kind of community, and every family had a bunch of kids, and you either were down at the ball field or at the gym. And grew up at Leslie Park and St. Mary's Lyceum, which is a historic building. It's over 100 years old, and you played baseball or you played basketball, and I probably was a late start for basketball. My mom kind of pushed me towards it. I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit. I liked the game, but I really wasn't good at it. And just started playing and fell in love with it. And had some great guys coach me along the way. Mickey McGrain, Jack Albright, Mickey's dad, John Baldy McGrain, who's I'm sure in a million local Hall of Fames, and the godfather of sports in Lawrenceville. Field's named after him now, and he has, I think, the longest running Catholic Diocese tournament. I think it started in 1954. It's still running 60 years.
St. Mary's Lyceum.
St. Mary's Lyceum, So just, to this day, I mean, anyone that comes from Lawrenceville was probably coached by him in some way. And still remember, it's just locked in my mind, man open. That was his man open, you learn to pass the ball. So his son Mickey coached me in grade school and then later on in high school. And just kind of felt a little relationship going there. And I wasn't the greatest player. I played hard. I played good defense. Wasn't the biggest scorer, but luckily on my high school team we had a guy named Marvin Bailey.
Oh, really? Yeah, we know Marvin.
Big Marv. And just threw the ball to him a little bit, and stand back and watch. So
that's the days when they wanted to pound the ball inside.
Right? There was no three-point line. So we won a few games and had some success with Big Marv, and he went on to Canisius. I could have played maybe at a Penn State, Greater Allegheny, Penn State, New Kent, but I chose to go to Duquesne. My sister was there. And
what year, just to give us a date?
I graduated in 1983.
Okay. You're a youngster.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think you guys won it that year, right?
We did.
No, you had probably Sam Gottschalk.
Yeah, 34.
Grew up with her in Lawrenceville.
Okay, yes.
There's another Lawrenceville connection there, I think, somewhere. But she was my age. Conley.
Maureen
Conley. 83.
Yeah,
83. You graduated from high school, right?
Yes.
And then went on to
Duquesne. So I went on to Duquesne, and I had a younger brother. 7 years younger than me that was starting to play grade school, and I'd go to the games and be one of those guys up in the crowd yelling at them. And a friend of mine at the time was coaching him named George Kwiatek, and he said, hey, if you're going to yell up there, why don't you come down and sit here? And I apologized. He said, no, I'm serious. Why don't you come down and coach? So next thing you know, I'm coaching sixth grade Catholic boys, and he moved on, and I kind of was a head coach in sixth grade boys, and I was content, and it was fun, and 2 blocks from my house at the Lyceum. It was all good, and then Mickey McGrain ended up getting the job at CCAC South, and he said, come on out. Now I'm 23 years old now, and I'm going to coach guys 21, 20. I never played college basketball.
In sixth grade.
Right, so I was tentative. I was nervous, but once I got into it, it's teaching, and whether it's young kids or older guys, it's teaching.
What was your major at Duquesne?
I majored in criminal justice.
Criminal justice.
Yeah,
okay,
so I'm a supervisor with the Adult Probation Office, 28 years,
So all that teaching going on, I mean, so talk about how, and I'm going to go back just a little, but the academic side of you, because you went through all these processes, the educational end. So talk about how the academics and then that athletic were able to come together, because now you became in a teaching role.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm a big proponent of Catholic education, Catholic schools. You know, maybe I wasn't the most earnest student, going home and doing it every night, but there was a pressure there of you did well in school and you're going to go to college, and that was the expectation.
Okay.
And I think that's a big deal. You know, if you're in that limbo of am I going to do it, am I not? If you're getting that at home, you're getting that at school, that this is part of the plan.
Reinforcement.
Exactly. That college is part of the plan. No if, and, or but, then there was no doubt that at some point what I was going to do, whether it was play basketball or not, I was definitely going to go to college, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's delve into when you said going from that 6th grade level to the college level.
Yeah. How
different was it for you? Especially you played high school basketball. You did not play in college. Did you start in high school?
Yeah, I was captain of the team, and I always had a feel for the game.
And where'd you play? Would you say where you played high school?
Lawrenceville Catholic.
Lawrenceville Catholic.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So always had a feel for a game and liked the X's and O's and figured it out. I just wasn't the most athletic kid or the most skilled, but I was kind of watch the best guy and shut him down. And you know, like I said, we had Marvin, so it was easy on that end. You know what I mean? So it was different in college. You had to get that confidence of you know what you're teaching, you know what you want to teach, but now it's kind of, are they going to question you because of the age? You're 2 years apart, maybe 3 years apart. But it took a couple years for me to get confident and understanding that that's what I'm doing. I'm teaching the game of basketball.
So the confidence comes from being able to be able to engage in different roles as an assistant, as a head coach. So is that how you were able to develop a confidence to speak to guys who are like 2 or 3 years younger than you?
Yeah, exactly. So you start with, you know, the game. The game's simple. You know what I mean? At all levels. You can make it as complicated as you can, but it's the simple stuff that wins at the end. You know, everyone has your plays on tape. Whatever. You're not tricking anyone to win a championship. It's the hard work, the repetition. So once you get into that, and they trust you, they have to gain that trust. That you kind of know what you're talking about, you believe in them, you're behind them, and you're in it together. It starts to make it a little easier. You always have one or two that'll challenge you, but that's where the confidence grew, and you know, that I said, hey, I like doing this, and you start to get into maybe recruiting a little bit. And, the stakes are a little higher.
More responsibilities.
And you're playing against, you know, good competition, and it was kind of intoxicating to say, hey, I'm, you know, coaching at junior college, and this is interesting, you know, and a lot of it was about, hey, competing and winning and everything like that, and was out there for 6 years, and it was a lot of fun. And I took 2 years off. My daughter was getting a little older, and the traveling was getting a little hectic, and then maybe the luckiest day of my life, I went down to get a bagel, and there was Coach Shea sitting there, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing anything right now, and he said, hey, would you like to get back into it? I'm like, one day. And he kind of asked me 3 times, and it was going over my head that he was asking me to coach with him, because I'm thinking, Coach Shea, are you kidding me? He's asking me. And
so for our viewers, though, just give a little quick tidbit on Coach Shea. Understand.
You know, it's in a way sad to me in this age. A lot of the great coaches of yesteryear aren't known, and I mean, you Google him, he's the winningest college coach in Western Pennsylvania history. I think ended up around 803 with wins. National championships at that level, build a program at a community college, maybe unheard of, you know, even around the country at that time, what he did from scratch to build a program that went on. He coached there, I believe, 39 years. I might short him a year. But just a fantastic, and then that's just the basketball. On top of that, a professor down there had a lot to do with the Steel Wheelers, wheelchair basketball, just the overall humanitarian community guy, so much stuff off the court, you know. So, you know, in high school, again, he's coaching over at CCH. I know who he is, you know, but it's like, you don't walk up to a guy like, it's like, you know what I mean? Now I'm talking to him at this bagel shop, like,
he's asking me 3 times, like,
and I'm like, he can't be talking to me.
So you played against him when you're coaching?
We did when I was at South, so I knew him through the handshake line. He knew who I was, you know, but it wasn't like we got together or anything like that.
So what do you think it was about you that Coach Shea, because he has an eye for talent. So what was that, what do you think he saw in you?
You know, I don't know.
Don't be bashful.
No, I'm energetic. I'm enthusiastic. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you yell at kids or whatever." I think I'm their biggest cheerleader and biggest critic. At the same time, like I'm bringing it. Whether that's on the good end or the bad end, I'm bringing it and I'm throwing everything into it. So I guess that was it.
The intensity, your
Yes.
passion.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good word, I guess. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. Yeah, love doing it. Yeah.
So when you say about yelling, you're not yelling at them. You're just so passionate about what's going on that you get into the game. Like, I know you could do this. Like, you want to get on the floor right then and there.
Yeah.
And just run out.
Yeah.
And so you're not yelling in a mean way that's degrading. You're more yelling at them like, I know you could do better.
Yeah, and I'm pushing them. Yeah, I'm pushing them, especially the older kids who haven't been pushed like that
What head
before.
coach would you model after in college?
Nice.
College Division I right now?
Wow.
Right now.
Yeah.
Now or a little bit before.
Okay.
I mean, because
Maybe like a Bobby Huggins.
Yeah,
okay. Just intense.
Yeah.
Like
He never ran on the floor, though.
No, never did that.
No.
Never did.
not
wasn't Patino's pretty.
Yeah, along those guys.
Dixon
yeah.
kind of changed it in a way. He used to be intense, and then he started to become a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a
intense
different
and
world
controlling.
too. It's kind of
Talk about the yelling, because people misunderstand the yelling. You get some people just, down a kid's throat, but then there's that teaching part, but
Right.
it sounds
Right.
because it's loud. So talk
Right.
about that. That's a misconception.
Yeah, and I would, again, compare it to school. I mean, I kind of was taught by nuns, and you get that first crack of this, I'm teaching it,
Right.
and then maybe a second crack on review.
Yeah.
But by the third time, if you're not getting it, there needs to be some reinforcement, and whether that was a nun with a paddle or a little eraser off the back of the head, you got to reinforce it a little bit that, hey, we're not getting this the way it should be, and I'm going to...
It's what you say
Right.
that people oftentimes miss because it's loud.
Right, and see, as a teacher, I was loud like that, and I didn't coach a lot, but and as a parent, I'm loud, but I'm not degrading. The difference,
Exactly.
there's two
No
different
doubt.
things.
No doubt.
You can't be just like, okay, guys, let's go.
Right.
When you're a big guy, you just can't do that.
Right.
And people understand that. So
Right.
that I understand the point is you're passionate, you're excited, you say, I know you could do this,
Right.
or what are you doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go and say you're horrible, you're
No.
terrible, like
No.
the degrading parts of it.
No,
Right.
no, yeah, more. I would say where that comes up, just where you want to express that anger is first of all maybe selfish play. Where you're
Right.
not
Right.
doing what you're supposed to do
Right.
for the team. And then the next thing would be a disrespect on their end, where they're not again buying into what we're doing. That needs to be addressed quickly and move on, but with some intensity. So again, the actual basketball itself, missing a shot, that kind of thing. No, we're not looking to attack
No, exactly.
that. No, but it's more. That everything's for the team.
Right.
And if you're not buying into that, that needs to be addressed.
All right, so when we get back, we'll be with Coach Halloran, and we're going to talk about a lot about more. I want to ask him about when he was playing with kids coaching the same kids, same age. Did he have to prove himself? Did he have to go out there and say, look, even though I didn't play college ball, I can play with you guys? And that's probably what he had to do to earn the respect, and then earn respect of coaches after showing he really cares. You're watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, Bethel Park. Remember me? My name is Jason Planitzer. I was the host of a little show here. You may have seen it. It was called The Jason Planitzer Show.
What would you say your experience at BPTV, how has that had an impact on your life?
I found my voice. I learned how to be funny. I learned how to create things. I learned how to collaborate with people here. I developed an interest in film and comedy and making videos. It stuck with me. It continued through my life. I got into working on motion pictures. I now I'll produce small videos. I'll work with producers on commercials, television projects, feature films. I scout locations on TV shows and movies, which involves me reading scripts, finding the locations that need to be shot, and collaborating with the director and production designer to find the perfect spot. It all started at BPTV for me.
We're back to Neil Haley Show, and with Coach Karen Hall and Coach Halloran, we're kind of going into, again, you're the assistant coach now at North Catholic, but you were coached in, again, the highest level next to D1, D2, D3 with one of the greatest coaches ever. I've never heard of the guy. So you're that's where I'm going to go with the point. Let's go to Coach Shea.
Yeah.
Coach CCAC, which one?
On the north side, Allegheny.
North side, okay. But we never see press about all those wins or national championships. We didn't know. And how many of it? So first question is, why didn't I see any of that press?
Wow, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I think 91 national champs, and he went to the national tournament, I'd say at least 5 times.
Yes.
Wow.
Just played back in the day when he started, you know, the name Bob McAdoo.
Yeah.
Played at Vincennes, beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, Ricky Green in Michigan. I mean, he could just rattle it off, and just the talent they played. And he's moved guys on. I know Lamont Harris, Major Harris's brother, played at Duquesne. He's had
Kenny Walls.
Kenny Walls. I mean, numerous guys have moved on. Even Gene Turner, CMU. I mean, a great guy. Just a bunch of guys that have gone on and played in places, and then just transition that. I hate to, when I talk about basketball, because he's just really a life mentor. He changed my life, and I always use the line from what's that movie with Jack Nicholson, As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to explain it is just being around him. You make me I want to be a better person, you know. And I would tell you at South, I probably, as a younger guy coaching, was about winning.
Oh,
I thought everything was winning. Yeah. And I moved down there with Coach Shea and learned how to run a program.
Right.
And learned that it's good citizen, good student, good teammate.
Right.
In that order. And that's what it's about. It's not about that we won 23 games this year. It's about 20 years from now, you're working somewhere, you got a wife and kids, and you're doing fine, and you're an upstanding member of the community, you know. And
that's the kind of kids, because some of them aren't going to go on. Some of them went on to play college basketball after the 2 years, but some didn't, right?
Exactly. And that was the message. You know, you weren't going to play if you were disrespectful to anyone on campus, whether it was the maintenance staff, whether it was a professor, whether it was anyone.
Wow.
If you didn't go to class, you weren't going to play. I mean, it was just, that's the way it was.
So the transformation that Coach Shea was teaching you, because kids come to junior colleges for so many different reasons, and most kids come in very raw, actually, no matter where you're going. So how were you able to observe his ability to transform the roughness to help kids understand citizen production later in life? Because you got to get underneath that before you can add all those.
Right, no doubt. So I think Coach Shea, again, he was in the Marines. There's a military background there.
Okay.
And it starts with little things like being on time. Okay. You know, hey, we're going to be on time for practice. And if you're not on time or you miss practice, it's not about me. Like, we would make the team run if someone was late. You know? So it's like you're hurting your teammates, and your teammates need to kind of bring you in and say, hey, you made us run. Are you going to be with us or not? So it wasn't always like, I'm going to do this to just point out one kid, but it was like, you're hurting the team by not being here. You're hurting the team by being late. You're hurting the team by not going to class. So it just kind of opened up a whole new world to me of like, instead of just about basketball, it's about life. And it's just... I couldn't have had a greater mentor. In fact, a side story is one time at the probation office, they were asking us to get a master's degree, and they kind of listed one. They said, why don't you go for this leadership? It's up your alley. And I said, I've been sitting next to Coach Shea for 9 years. I can't get any better. Book. Yeah, it's just, you know, just was like a sponge. You know.
How were you able to balance coaching in college and being able to work that job?
Yeah, the best thing was at the time I was working at the Strip District, and obviously right over the bridge was the gym. So my supervisors were kind of like little. They knew I liked coaching. They knew I was in coaching already, and gave me some leeway getting over there to practice. And the games were mostly at night, so it was a hustle. But you know, if you love doing it, you'll do it. You'll figure out a way. You know.
So how long did you coach with Coach Shea as his assistant?
9 years.
Okay, and then now you become head coach.
Yes.
So now you get into running your program.
Yes.
Now, do you take parts of you and all that Coach Shea, and how did you blend your personality with all that leadership and teaching?
Right. Yeah, so a tricky transition, you know. He has earned these accolades, you know. You can't Google me yet, you know, like, who am I? Who's this guy, this bald-headed guy sitting next to Coach Shea? So yeah, I wanted the pattern. That was my thing. I agreed with it. It made sense now. You know, good citizen, good student, good player, good teammate. And it was a struggle. It was a
Okay.
struggle because I had resistance initially.
Okay.
You know, I think my first year we only had 1 or 2 guys back from the following year who played for Coach Shea, and a whole bunch of guys that it was a rough year. And we pushed and we pushed and we butted heads. But we didn't yield. This is the way we're going to do things.
Okay.
Right.
Be on time. Be a good teammate. Be a good student. And got over not having a winning season, but we managed through, not the bend of like, this kid, we need him because he
Okay.
can score a little, but he's doing this and this. We'll keep him. You did bad on your test and didn't pass. We weren't going to say, hey, he's too good. We can't
Right.
get rid of him.
Okay.
No, we held the letter of the law and took our lumps. You know,
Right.
and it paid off. It paid
How
off.
many years did you have to take lumps to get to smooth it out?
Yeah, and I would say it never got to the point it was perfect.
Sure.
But my second year, we were very successful. One of that, you got to have guys, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Oh,
We
yeah,
went-
got it later.
So that was plan A, go out and get some guys, and we ended up getting some guys that next year. Rashad Hatton from Clarendon, John Valeriano, Northgate, Rich McLean, Westinghouse, and we ended up going all the way to the national championship, finishing 4th in the country our second year. And
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Very
just had
nice.
a great group of guys,
Good.
you know, and they just bought in, and you know, initially maybe some struggle, but then they just kind of
Wow.
felt that camaraderie together, and we kind of gelled.
So you were glad that you were able to take to get out of Coach Shea's shadow a little bit by recruiting the players yourself and winning.
Yeah, and again, Coach Shea again went out without any accolades. He kind of drifted off without the ceremonial. Hey, that's everyone recognize him, and so once they found out he wasn't there, they start calling me and him together, and hey, what's going on? And I would say, my line was, I'm not in any competition with him. That's my guy, and I stay in touch with him. And he was there. He was still teaching at the school, so
Okay.
I would touch base with him twice a week. Hey, we're trying to do this. Can you come into practice? So it was like having a resource like no one else could have.
And then how many years did you coach there?
6 years.
6.
years.
And
yeah.
you went to the Final Four once?
Yeah, national tournament once. Yeah, regional championship 3 other times. We lost 3 regional championships, but made it to the nationals once.
And then what was the reason for moving on?
Probably not the best of circumstances. Just a generic answer is something that goes on a lot now in sports. Is I had a kid whose parent had access to an administrator, and we made a disciplinary decision, and it was approved by the athletic
Right.
director and the director of student activities, and it ended up being overturned by an administrator whose a parent had their ear. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. I decided to walk away. They wanted me to come back, and I just felt like it would have been good if I could part ways with this kid and his family, and they were going to tell me no, it wasn't going to happen. So I just felt like if you're not letting me control the team
Yeah.
anymore,
Right.
I can't do it.
So you
know?
moved on, and then decided to get back into coaching. How many years later?
Well, I sat out a year, and I had a nephew playing at North Allegheny. I was going to see him. My daughter had a baby. I had a little grandson. Everything was good, and then I started going to some games. My wife's a teacher at Alderdice, and we go to see them play. They had a really good team.
Yes.
And you get in the gym, and I know a lot of refs and a lot of coaches.
Right.
And what are you going to do? What are you going
Right,
to do?
right.
And you start to get that scratch.
Yeah.
And then I run into an old-time friend, Dave Long, who's been the coach at North Catholic, and real similar backgrounds. He sat next to Don Graham, who's
Yeah.
probably all-time winningest high school coach in
Okay.
Western Pennsylvania. So really similar backgrounds with me and him. And he said, what are you doing? Just come out to practice and have some fun and coach
Right.
whatever. And you get in the gym, and there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like
There's
it.
nothing
Being
like
on that floor and
Yeah.
doing it again. And I was hooked. And my wife was, can you really do high school? You've been in college. And I'm like, let's give it a try, And it's been nothing but fun. We end up last year winning WPL, Class A. And I'm having a ball,
So how do you, the transition college to
Right.
high school, and I understand there's some differences there, but I want to talk about your point where today's athletes, today's program, and how they're run by the administrators, how that's a little ruffle in the program's feather. So how do coaches, and how do you get
Right.
through that?
Yeah, I honestly think the word that's different from when I was a kid
Okay.
to now is boundaries.
Right.
Okay.
The boundaries have been exaggerated to where people can feel like they can confront a coach on
Right.
a court.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, there's no chain of command of
No.
like, hey, I really would like to talk to the coach. And it's not even maybe, I can understand if it was an abuse situation
Exactly.
or whatever, but if it's playing
Playing time.
time,
It's ridiculous.
yeah, and it's really not. I mean, and here's what I know, and from growing up, and I know you know the same thing. the kids will figure it out themselves.
Right.
If there was a pickup game, they would say, I take Neil,
Yeah.
I take Karen, and they'll figure it out.
Right.
And whoever's left, and I've been that guy left.
Right.
And you got a choice, go home or try to get better.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is parents don't see it that
No.
way. Parents live
Great
through the
point.
tunnel vision of their
Great
of their kid. And what they'll see is what their kid did well, and they'll see what their competition did poorly.
Yes.
So they'll bring that to the table, like, well, why is Neil playing? He threw the ball away 3 times. My kid made 2 hoops. Well, your kid also made mistakes too. So it's really tough because I think this is an age too of Twitter and Facebook.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
my kid's
social
going
media.
here. My kid got a scholarship.
Yeah.
This school's looking at my
Yeah.
kid.
The AAU factor.
The AAU factor.
Uh,
It's just this. Look at me.
Individual,
Look at me.
and
Exactly.
and then when they get to college, it's going to change. And then, so this is the difference you were able to bring. Is we're almost out of time. Is you're able to bring the perspective. I coached college basketball. I know you guys at North. Guess what? You think you're something special. Go to the next level and see that everyone's like you. If you're the top scorer,
Exactly.
you better learn how to play team ball. You better be able to do all the intangibles because you're not going to play the next level if you don't. Especially if you're looking at a smaller school.
Yes. no doubt.
You're going to get the opportunities, but you're going to be in the same competition, so you better develop that skill set.
Yes. No
doubt.
So, do you think you'll be a head coach in high school ever?
If it happens, it happens. I'm happy where I'm at now, and I have to just give a shout out to my wife because she put us up with me for all this stuff. She's traveled, the places, Kaiser, West Virginia, Jamestown, New York, and she's behind me. Harshest critic, but biggest supporter at the same time. If I come home, my head's getting too big, she'll pop
Put
that in
that
a
pin in
second.
there.
If I'm too down, she'll pick
Nice.
me up. But if the opportunity comes. I'm not a nomad guy, so I'm kind of like to stay
Right.
in one place, and I'm happy out here at North, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a nice facility, great school, and education's the focus out there.
And great principal too. I've heard really good things
Yeah.
about your principal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that brings it all together.
Yeah.
And
No
this
doubt.
transition from going from North Catholic to Cardinal Moral to Cranberry, and being able to continue the tradition, but yet also take it to the next level as a Catholic institution. First academics, then athletics.
Exactly.
And I've heard that that's what's going on there.
No doubt.
And everyone's buying into it. And that's
Exactly.
important because if you can win both those ways, that's a great thing.
No doubt.
Compared to just, okay, we call ourselves a Catholic school, but yet there's nothing Catholic about it.
Right.
Like you walk into your school, you have the Eucharist in the right. You have a inside.
Chapel right there.
Right,
So
right
it's
there.
right in the front doors, yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that
Right.
the traditional Catholic schools
Yeah.
need to be. I even so that's the kind of thing. Wasn't St. Benedict have something like that or something?
Well, the chapel, the new
Yeah.
St. Benedict does. You come in
Yeah.
and the quick right, and
Yeah.
chapel's right there.
Okay. Any place to find information on you? Are you a social media at all?
I don't know, if you Google my name a little bit, that might come up the year we won, but other than that, I'm kind of a low-key guy. I'm not
Low-key.
looking for any attention,
See,
really,
it's
but-
interesting. Some of the assistant coaches are grabbing it, jumping on that stuff.
Very successful coach. He's being very humble. So I'm not going to allow him to underscore his success as a
Oh no,
collegiate
I go.
coach.
I think definitely
Yeah.
he shows the people you bring
Yeah.
on the show are all successful.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming
Hey,
by.
thank
Good-
you so
it was
much.
a
I
lot of
appreciate
fun.
it.
I'm glad you're
Thank
back
you
on the
for getting
sidelines.
up. Yeah,
And
yeah.
my
I'm
wife
happy
will say
for
go
you.
again, go Cardinal, we'll go,
There we
go
go. That's it.
NC, and that's it. So this was the Neil Haley Show. Take care, guys, and we'll see you next week.